A very good day to you and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. I wonder whether this is a good day. My conversation to you today is all about what is happening in Kenya. Bodies have been found at Mukuru kwa Jenga. Cabinet ministers have been sacked. President William Ruto is under a lot of pressure. I'm here with Herman Manyora. Prof, look, it's crazy what is happening. But my first question would be, what the hell is happening?
That's the question. What is happening? That's the question.
8 bodies found. Then I read from the Star, 9 bodies found. Then I read from the Star, live bullets fired as people were at Mukuru kwa Jenga chanting, Ruto must go. President William Ruto sacked cabinet ministers yesterday. And then it seemed like a sigh of relief. But then you see these bodies and see if the country is back again to protest mode. What do you think?
I don't know many things, but I know one thing. I know we must be careful because we could lose our country. That's what I know. A country, I keep saying, is too good to go down. It has never been in the interest of any country that the country experiences the sort of tension, confusion, anger, disappointment, all of these things roll into one. It is dangerous for the country. Because what could be a very normal occurrence, normal as in, not necessarily the act is good, but these things happen. You know there are ritual killings, for example. We know that, okay?
Shakahola.
We have had worse at Shakahola. Normal not to mean any death is normal or that kind of, but normal as in things happen. There are such a bad things happening. Okay?
Yeah.
Normal to mean a cabinet can be sacked, a minister can be sacked, or the entire cabinet can go. Uhuru Kibaki did it. Just normal in that sense. Normal that an inspector general of police can resign. It's normal. But when the country is in a certain state, that which could have been normal and dealt with within the context of being normal can set the country ablaze. And I keep saying, let us try as much as possible never to create tension in the country.
I don't know whether it's true, but I'm hearing about bodies that were found at Mukuru kwa Jenga, some of them legs chopped off, people chanting Ruto must go. So you cannot really tell what is normal and what is politics and whether government has been involved. IG Koome has resigned, but tell me about IG Koome resigning because of, you know, there's a lot of conversations about live bullets, people being shot, abductions happening in the country. Do you think the president has asked him to step down? Could this be the case?
But that's how he also came in. Who was there? Mutiambai was there.
Yeah.
Mutiambai, we were told he had resigned. It looks like he hadn't resigned. And then Koome took. The Bible says those that live by the sword die by the sword. So maybe he's falling on his sword. Maybe he has been asked in a similar manner Mutiambai was asked. Was it Mutembe or
Mutiambai.
But on a serious note, you see, about the Inspector General of Police, he bears a lot of blame. The way the police handled the demonstrations. This time, remember, the demonstrations are about young children, our children, young Kenyans. And the sort of force that was used, the casualties, the fatalities, the suffering, the pain, surely somebody has to take the blame. Whether they were directly responsible or not. And I've said here, and I'm not defending Koome. I'm just saying in 2007, 2008, during the post-election violence, we got to know that command was ignored in many instances. It is not Hussein Ali, then they were called Commissioner of Police, who actually ordered the police to do some of the things that were done. It was proved, even when we went to ICC. So sometimes when things get to a point like this, you may be blaming somebody when somebody else disregards command and gives direct order to junior officers to do certain things. And I think that's what happened in 2007, 2008. I'm not saying that's what has happened today, but I'm just saying somebody had to take responsibility. It so happened that person has to be Koome.
You know, I watched this NTV video of this young guy, I think a president of some institution, who was crying on screen because of the way he was abducted. Says he was beaten up, he has injuries on his arm, his knees, his ankle. And then you'd wonder is it enough for IG Koome to resign, especially if there are casualties. You're saying maybe it's a junior officer, but for the president where he sits, whether IG Koome has been forced to resign, should action be taken? Because there are even photos of police officers, you know, who committed certain atrocities. There are claims of it. You know, you see a police officer firing live towards protesters. Is resigning enough?
No, it's in the interest of those police officers and the government and all of us together that decisive action is taken against officers who are identified. It does not matter whether they were sent by somebody or not. It's in their own interest because the people of this country can look for them and do bad things to them. And those things may go beyond the individual. If people came to your home, we've seen, you know, it may go beyond you. It may go beyond you as a person. It may affect those near you. It may affect the house, the property, and so on and so forth. We also need to send us a message to the people of this country that mistakes could have been done. We are aware of that. And as government, we are doing something about it. So I think, other than Koome resigning, these officers must be identified and action taken against them. It's important for their own good.
Yeah.
Because
for their own good.
People will catch up with them. I'm telling you, I can see it happening. It's better you are arrested, charged, and maybe do 10 years, 5 years, or even get free than to wait for the people to come for you. Because this normal happens.
I don't want to.
So it's not a good thing.
Yeah, I don't want to.
And the government must also send proper signals that even if there were mistakes, even if it was not deliberate, it's not something we are as a country going to condone.
Well, what is the best way to deal with, you know, the unforeseen scenarios, especially of what you've been talking about for the past 2-3 years about a revolution is beckoning? Maybe this is a revolution we are looking at. But what is the best scenario for police officers to deal with citizens? Because we're not even talking about the military, we talk about police officers. I saw this video of a woman, a mother, saying there are officers who have entered into her house, they're looking for her son, and they want to talk to him. They, of course, haven't followed the right orders. You must present a warrant. You must say where you're from. You must tell why you are where you are. What is the best way of dealing with such scenarios which are unforeseen for police officers? Because it's becoming difficult to explain.
You know, I don't want us to blame police officers. First, we should not create those situations in which police officers find themselves and then they do some bad things sometimes. I'm not saying that person who comes from home in plain clothes, on some assignment, I don't know from who, with the intention of being a sniper to take down a Kenyan. We've seen those kind of images. I'm not talking about that person, whether they are policemen or something. Those ones are different lot. I'm just talking about an ordinary policeman earning an ordinary living, doing service to country. If you put people through Kondele, Nyalenda, Kibra, Korogosho, you've seen people even pelting police, beating them up. Somebody is a human being. So the basic thing to do is to avoid situations that find police feeling like their life is also in danger, or even just frustration. Here you are in a crowd, you have run out of tear gas, you have run out of rubber bullets, and the crowds are you are a human being. You may act up, you can now go for a live bullet. Those situations, I'm saying, are what we must avoid going forward. And I've said this many times. I said from quite some time back, we must be prepared for a certain type of Kenya. The Kenya we have come to accept is a Kenya of litigation, or where people are going to court because of the newfound freedoms and the new spaces people are enjoying. But I've also said there's another Kenyan where people are going to be expressing themselves. We had better live with that reality, because that is the reality. That is the reality, that people are going to be expressing themselves under Article 37 of the Constitution. And we had better accept that fact and find out how best to manage situations when people want to express themselves. Kenyans would then know it is possible to make your point and go back home. If you start in Uhuru Park and the police are guiding you, as you saw it in South Africa, the Malema one.
Yeah.
Even within dun 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 dun, people like dancing and they are demonstrating and the police are leading. You go from Uhuru Park, Kenyatta Avenue, Moi Avenue, Helslas Avenue, back to Uhuru Park, speeches 1 more hour, and people disperse. We had better get used to that. Is the new Kenya. Because if anybody thinks they are going to stop people when they express, and people are going to express themselves over many issues. We have not even started, my friend. I don't want to mention some of the things here. We are going to see things, not just political. We are just dealing with political issues. They are going to be serious issues. We are going to have to deal with the pride parades, gender issues. So, you know, we are going to have to deal with many issues in this country. In and out of court, in the streets, everywhere.
And people have to express themselves as they see fit.
So what is happening is we are simply trying to stop the clock. It's not going to work. We had better get ourselves prepared for the new Kenya. Just as we are now getting used to people going to court over almost everything. I hear this thing of Ruto has been chief has been suspended.
Yes.
That is the new Kenya. That one we know. But the Kenya of demonstrations and picketing and what have you is going to be the order of the day.
So what is your advice for President Ruto? Some say yesterday he looked defeated when he was sacking his cabinet. But we'll talk about cabinet ministers. but you know, what is the headspace for President Ruto now? Because he has to deal with people expressing themselves. He has to deal with there's this video of a girl twerking in front of police officers.
Yes, you see those kind of things.
There are things that are happening that have never been seen before.
Yes.
What is your advice for President Ruto, especially if he can talk to his officers? He says they're independent, but of course we know he can't talk to them.
Simple. Do the right thing. Even before you do the right thing, appreciate the magnitude of the problem we are in. These are challenging times. More importantly, let us, all of us, I'm going to do a video to address myself, Gen Zs. But this particular one is about government, about Ruto, and about mature people like us and leaders and politicians. Let us all stop playing games. Let us stop being clever. I want us to assume, and that's my video.
Let me just hold you at that, because you've said let us stop being clever since Gen Z protests started. But it seems like the president is giving in to almost every demand of the Gen Z since this thing started. It's as if he's not playing clever. He's trying to make things happen, but they're not just becoming right for Kenyans. No. Do you think they're becoming clever now?
You know, let me take an example of dissolving cabinet. You can dissolve cabinet because you have heard people have said and you have seen there's need for that because it offers some relief. You know, it's a shock therapy. Sometimes when I was talking to Amos, Emeritus.
Yeah, Amos Wako.
He said, I think he was saying when Kibaki did it in 2005, I think, shock therapy. Some situation requires shock therapy. I've been talking about it, I didn't have the words until I talked to Amos a short while ago. Shock therapy. So like dissolution of cabinet. It works not in Kenya alone, in many other places. That is as it should be. It can serve the purpose. But supposing you are not sincere about that, then you are also playing games. Those are the games if you are not sincere. Yeah. Because if I'm Ruto, for example, and I want to be clever, I can dissolve cabinet. He has not done what other people do. They give clear timelines. Has he talked of timelines?
No.
Where presidents have the power to appoint directly, they say, I'll be appointing a new government in 2 weeks. Whereas in our case where you only nominate He should have said, I'm going to nominate cabinet in 2 weeks. And thereafter the law kicks in, where parliament has 21 days. Then people will have an idea. You see, that's being a very honest move. But supposing you want to be clever and play a few games, you leave it like that. If it is just not well defined with clear timelines, you are going to consult widely with a view to forming a broad-based government. You see the games I'm talking about? You could be buying time and hoping this thing will die away. Those are the games I'm talking about. And I'm saying don't go in that direction. Or on the broad-based aspect of it. You think if I bring Raila here, we sit, now that we are friends, and we form some sort of arrangement, some government gives you a few names from here and there, Kalonzo brings, those are games, because Kenya is past that now. Just take charge as the president, listen to Kenyans, tell us when you are going to have a new cabinet in place.
I wanted to talk about cabinet tomorrow, but because everyone...
I was just giving an example of what it means to be sincere, genuine, appreciate the problem, or thinking you can be clever and play games. There's no time for playing games. There's no time for being clever. Everyone
has talked about CS Murkomen, by the way. But for today...
Someone says Murkomen wametuingiza hapa sasa.
Akina Sudi. But for today, I want to talk about, are we safe as a country? From where you sit, a lot of parents thinking my Gen Z guys are going to university, are going to work, they are going to come back home in the evening, and then you look at this protest, it's as if sometimes Gen Z are carried away with the momentum, with the fume, and they go ahead and protest. What is your advice to the parents watching us and thinking, should I be concerned about the safety of my children?
Everybody, every parent, why not? What sort of parent will be if you are not concerned? You have to be concerned, and you have offer advice. I'm not saying you lock your children in a room. Just offer advice. You people, when you wanted to go, I told you it's not a picnic. Is that not what I told you?
We went.
Say you can go if you want to go. I can't stop you. I'm not giving you permission. But just know it's not a picnic. So when I saw bullets flying, I said, well, these guys will left here. So any parent will be concerned. But I want to tell Kenyans, I thought you were asking about Kenyans. About not Ruto, not Manyora, not you, not anybody, just Kenyans. This country is going to be as safe as we want it to be. There are no two ways about it. The country will be as safe as we want it to be. Safe for us, safe for our children, safe for our grandchildren. If you are the president, the country will be as safe as you want it to be so that you can govern. If you are a Gen Z, the future is yours. The country will be as safe as you want that country to be as you talk about your future. So this country is in our hands, all of us. And the country is going to be as safe as we want it to be. So even for Gen Zs, they have done a tremendous job. And they will continue to do. We can't stop them. But they must also be aware. The history has taught us. Sometimes you can tip over. They must also be aware. There are opportunists who can want to exploit this situation to get to power and things like those. So in other words, because Gen Zs are not children. They may be young, but they are not. They are our children, they are young, but they are not children in the sense of people who can't think.
For themselves.
Most of these people have education, okay? You've seen Gen Zs being sworn in the House of Commons, I don't know, something like that.
Yes.
There's a video doing that. I want to counter check if it is true. It's a very good thing. But young people being sworn in as legislators, as ministers, House of Commons, I think, something like that. So they are not children in the sense they can't make decisions. They must be aware. Whatever it is they do, they have a country to protect. And the people will begin trying to get them and use them for their own self. So I'm not saying they should be apprehensive to the point of giving up, because I don't want to be accused of saying that. I know many people have already been brought to say that, because nobody ever approaches me, because they know Manyora can't do it. But I'm saying I can see a situation like this. There will be people who will be happy to exploit. Demonstrations that were organic, leaderless, formless, structureless, no money involved, I will not be surprised if I saw money now being poured in. Opportunistic leaders. So we all have to be careful, because we have a country to protect and a future to protect. You get it?
I'm getting.
So for the government, I must end by saying the government has a bigger responsibility than the Gen Zs and the rest of us. The president has already done a lot. He will be required to do a lot more. But what is important is not the number of things he does, is how sincere those things look to the Kenyan people.
Let's wrap it up at that, because you can't say it even better. Thank you for tuning in this conversation this particular Friday. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.